Roundtable that's facilitating that process right in the heart of our best institutions in Asia, di ba? Labas na rin yung rankings. How are libraries in universities right now dealing with the question of openness? And for also our understanding, what are the considerations that they are grappling with in terms of offering more and opening the doors na hindi lang itong pang turista at pang taga-UP. Then maybe the networks of libraries all over the country, because we know also that they have work on that regard. So, again, si Professor Tomales from Rizal Library and Arthur from UP Library. How much effort is being put into the collation, the putting together all the information that's being produced in the universities? And in the exercise of keeping this standing, what are considerations? Costs, subscriptions, outreach, etc. Because I don't think this is an information that is privy to many people who want to access your libraries.
Hindi ko alam kung saan sisimulan yung sagot. It might be easier if I just give specific examples. And this one is really scholarly research. It's not so much government related. We actually have, right now I can think of 2 resources that are freely available to the public from the Rizal Library website. One is ethics.ateneo.edu, which is a collection of different transcriptions. So these are the different ethics from the different parts of the Philippines as collected by one researcher. So merong mga transcriptions, may mga videos. The other one is e-FOI. I don't know if, depends on how old you are. Okay, so e-FOI was one of the underground, not really underground, they were one of the few above ground newspapers during martial law. Okay, sila yung naglabas nung one of the original articles saying that Marcos's medals were fake. Ito naman, unlike other publications that if we could put them available, we could make them freely available online, we would. Except we're running into copyright issues. Okay. So for example, may mga lumang Manila Times from the early 1900s up to before 1940s. Medyo, parang we might need to ask for permission from the heirs of the publishers. So part of the difficulty is that we run into copyright issues if we want to make it freely available online. Now, if you're asking about electronic databases, ito yung mga foreign publications dito. Pasok na tayo ng open access, and historically kasi, research was published in books and journals. Researchers like Isaac Newton, for example, got their research out through books. And publishers made money. And those publishers are actually now some of the biggest electronic database publishers. Okay, so nag-evolve na siya from print to electronic. Pero ganun pa rin. Diba? Parang the research is somebody still has to pay so that people can access the research. And it actually costs a lot of money. At ito medyo alam ko because medyo pinoproblema namin ito ngayon. Parang because it's getting a little too expensive. Okay, do we actually just cut the subscription because we can't afford it anymore? So only faculty and students of Ateneo de Manila University can use the database. Okay? And that's basically all of the databases. Now, one question I keep getting asked by outsiders and alumni is, pwede ba kaming gumamit? Okay? Kasi, by the way, if you want to go to Rizal Library and do research, it's actually 100 pesos per day for any researcher. You don't have to, well, unless you're a student, in which case, may 50 pesos, but you need a letter from your librarian.
Ang initiative po ng main library has been to put everything here, link everything here, everything that researcher would need. In the records of electronic subscription, we are lucky to be part of the Philippine e-FOI project, wherein the government is the one who buys for us. So,
For all Filipinos. Or for English students only.
ang trick po kasi na ginawa nila is to target sa IP addresses. So, IP address lang po ng UP systems or ng partner agencies. So, if you're using our Wi-Fi, you can access it. If you're outside the Wi-Fi range, it's NLP, National Library, UP, UST, Department of Agriculture, Commission on Higher Education.
So you can use the system outside of the school?
Outside, I think yung partner agencies din pwede. As
So you
long as
have
nasa
to be in the UP.
within their network.
Why the restrictions, sir?
Yung pong sinasabi ko na Philippine e-FOI, ito po yung paid by the government. Yung other initiatives po namin, we try to make it as open as possible. So when it comes to journals published by UP, go to journals.upd.edu.ph.
Can regular citizens who pay their taxes access this?
Sir, the Philippine e-FOI, I think, is available through all our public libraries.
How much of it is, if we want to describe how accessible and open these knowledge products are, how would you describe it? Where are the barriers? Where are the clarifications that need to be made? And if I want to enter, what's my best entry point? Para katulad na sinasabi in the earlier panel. Ito yung kulang pa, ito yung kailangan ng clarification, ito pwede nyo nang pasukin.
So yung main access point po is always yung homepage namin, maylive.upd.edu.ph. We link everything there. Main barrier po namin as of now, most researches, every information resource we have, most of it is still in analog. So, being from the digitization section of the library, matagal po mag-digitize ang resources. And on a good note, pagkatapos po namin mag-digitize, PDF siya, naka-OCR na po siya, optical character recognition. So, ma-searchable na po yung text niya, pwede niyo pong i-copy yung text. No need to encode again.
98% of the time.
Yes. Meron po kasi mga resources na hindi recognizable yung text. Ang initiative po namin is to make every thesis published by students available. So, ang main problem po namin is not everyone is on board with it. We're having a hard time convincing some college students or some faculty to be on board because they believe in the intellectual property. Again, that's why we were asking for a clarification when it comes to how much of the thesis can be published for free or open to the public. So as of now, we are most of the things uploaded here are that are completely open to the public, which would be the archives, the abstracts or the summaries of the thesis.
We were giving the context that open education is the movement to shift from analog practices of printing knowledge products, books, journals, etc. and instead challenging the notion that shouldn't this be all digitized and one way or another available online.
One thing I keep getting is, may gumagamit pa ba ng library?
Interesting.
Isn't everything online? And, well, the quick answer is no. Okay, not everything is online, and that's why we have all these expensive databases. And actually, yes. You know, punong-puno ang Rizal Library. You can ask our students na pagka exam time, even not during exam time, nagkakaproblema saan sila upo. Okay? And that's why, okay naman. So I don't know if this actually goes into what he was talking about earlier. Meron na rin off-campus access to our databases. Okay? Meaning, because it's IP-based. So if you're on campus, you don't have to log in to anything to access the databases. You just click on the link and then magbubukas na yung Science Direct. But if you're off campus, you can't access it. But we already started this a few years ago, and we'll be starting it in the past few months, right? So you can just use your username and your ID number, and then your own password, and then you can access it from anywhere in the world. Actually, we have exchange students used to tell us na they, whatever school they are in, they cannot access this particular database, so they just access ours. Okay, from France, mga ganyan. Okay, anyway, so may may developments na, and in relation to Philippine e-LEAD, okay, I suspect na pwede rin bigyan ng off-campus or remote access yung ordinary citizens, but I suspect the ICT will have to operationalize that. That leads into another political problem na parang, are you going to require everybody to have a Philippine citizen's ID number or card na we can use to monitor everybody's movements?
Going back to dun sa definition ni Zar ng open education, medyo mag-push back na ako ng konti kasi it's only looking at the, going digital. Pero in a sense, going to the issue na walang, yung mga prof, ayaw pa rin nila mag-share ng data or ayaw nila mag-publish ng kanilang work, it's not just a digitalization, but it's a practice talaga na you have to be open about your processes, open about your data, open about who you're teaching or who you're working with, etc.
Kasi I think yung sa intellectual property rights, it differs from college to college. For instance, if you're a social science or natural sciences, parang it would be your intention to share it kasi you're a knowledge-producing college. But if you're from the humanities and pretty much like your stories, your philosophy, it's kind of like the lifeblood of the thesis writer. So they may not be that willing to share their thesis.
Government, we are asking the ICT to also do the same thing for public documents. Administrative issuances, executive orders. So whatever technology innovations that's happening from your sector, very interested in ICT to learn about it. So again, I'm going back, how ready are we to engage in that discussion?
Okay,
Sir, when it comes to access points, we're prepared to give you, sir, or rather, it's already available. Or we're already indexing the traditional metadata for resources, the author or the title. But since we are already using optical character recognition for most of the PDFs we digitize, we're actually pushing or we're trying to make it a full document search already, not just keywords. So, hopefully, search engine algorithms will improve to catch up. Pero as of now, traditional metadata pa rin ang libraries. May data pa po kami for use of electronic resources. It's actually what we use to justify paying for most of the things we acquire. What was the third one?
Can you describe the trends sa UP? Is it increasing through time? At what ratio is a peso or per capita expenditure kung gano'n? Do you have that kind of...
That analysis, ma'am, as of now, no. I don't memorize those things.
How were you able to rationalize that we need this $1 million?
Actually, it's I hate to say that it's not my job, but it's my boss's area. So my job is to, in the reference service, is to answer questions, translate questions so that the database will be able to understand understand it and give pertinent data and the digitized materials.
Kung ang tanong mo justification, iba ang sagot ni UP sa Ateneo. Ateneo charges to sustain because there's a cost of sustaining and bringing forward. Hindi ganun ang sagot ni UP kasi si UP, being a state government, there is a state function to promote the body of knowledge for its citizens. Medyo slightly different. And therefore, since it fits into a greater good, the taxpayers pay for it. Yun yung sagot. Kaya nga dapat, iba yung standards ng Ateneo being made accessible to the public kasi hindi naman yun galing sa taxpayers money.
Actually, a lot of universities I've downloaded dissertations. I was like, oh, buti na lang, libre ito. And then, pagdating sa Pilipinas, may problema. Pero there's actually, even, we don't even have to go digital at all. There is an existing problem with thesis na parang may limit on the number of pages that can be photocopied. Pag tinatanong na, bakit? Ano yung dahilan? Walang naisasagot yung mga tao. Okay. Kasi nga sa akin, thesis yan eh. People should be able to access freely. So, medyo on the practical side, marami na kasing nahuli na nag-plagiarize. And that might be part of the reason libraries crack down on copying of thesis decades ago. That might also be part of the reason some departments in UP, and I'm not just saying it's UP. If we try to do it at Ateneo, baka may mga mag-object din ng mga department, di ba? Kasi baka parang hindi sila confident na lahat ng thesis na i-upload original.
Are there discussions among universities and the libraries to reassess these kinds of approaches? Because if we make information that underwent a certain research rigor from going out there, compared to all the information that is already available out there, na hindi pinagdaanan yung rigor supposedly, tapos yun yung kino-quote ng mga tao para gumawa ng arguments at public discourse ngayon, hindi ba dapat pinag-iisipan natin ito ulit? Because the information that should shape public discourse in terms of democratic conversations and in terms of citizenship are the ones that are stuck in silos that only the privileged and the able to afford can get.
That's a larger discussion that's actually that's going on among academics, and ang pinaka-solution which some academics are doing right now is to popularize their research. Because nobody's going to read a dissertation, even if they can download it. So they write shorter articles, they write newspaper columns, so that it's easier for people to understand. But some are more successful than others.
Say all of our websites that are available to the public. It's journals.upd.edu.ph for all of the publications of the university. So this is open to the public for free. We also have index to Philippine newspapers and index to Philippine periodicals. Our catalogs are also open to the public.
Is it now in the proper time to move forward with parang it's more of a Philippine index registry? Kumbaga, kasi ngayon medyo library specific yung parang ecosystem ninyo, you're indexing it. Can we come up now with a discussion na kung sama-samahin yan so that whenever someone searches for it, mariredirect, let's say, by the NGT to the proper locations?
I'm just not so comfortable with the fact that we focus directly on the research. Parang parang end product na talaga yung tingnan natin. Because I think one of our problems really is that Filipinos, I think, are not comfortable, specifically with libraries, for example. They think na, yung mga yung mga katalino lang nagpupunta dyan, yung mga boring lang nagpupunta dyan. Okay. Or one thing that was surfaced via a National Development Board survey was the average Filipino doesn't know where the nearest library is. So library pa lang yun, we're not even talking about information. Filipinos I think are more likely to trust whatever their friend says than what is actually research-based or evidence-based, as somebody was saying earlier. So I think this is the challenge for us librarians, and hopefully I don't know also other people engaged in information. I think we need to attract people to information, to go to libraries, to go to see information providers as important.
Actually, my success benchmark or target is whenever someone discusses over social media, instead of them citing fictitious websites, I'd rather see them citing actually literatures that can be reference to what we're trying to do. Yun yung pinaka-objective ko rin. So if we see that time, then we have done our jobs well.